Whoa, 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 whoa. Wow, there we go. I had the wrong microphone picked. I don't anymore. I don't anymore. Okay, so I was thinking of topics. I was like, what do I hate about history? Like, what are some things I do not like about history? And I'm like, okay, I can think of that. That's easy, right? There they are. So fucking robber barons, and it was weird too, because I was trying to, I was making sure I had my facts right. Dotted my I's, crossed my T's. And I'm telling you, Google, like at this point in time, they like they really they really are trying to like defend the robber barons. They're like, no, 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 they're industrialists. They're captains of their industry. It's like, no, they were fucking people, and they're still rich. They're still in power. They are still the people, like to this day, basically calling the shots in the world. It has not changed. We just think it changed. We just think everything's different. We don't think history is cyclical. It is. It's weird. You'll see. So we get the robber barons, right? And they're okay. I mean, they're not. That's kind of what they look like. It's kind of what that's money coming out of their head hole, their neck hole, right? And then that's what their brains look like. It's just full of money. And then they do that a lot. They do the, give me, like, ooh, yeah, let me rub those coins together. Robber barons. They just love money. We're gonna go ahead and get the rain on. Sorry. I know. I know. Everyone told me no more rain. You know what I tell them? Yummy. Such a good rain sound. Okay. So, we have pictures. I did get pictures today. So, we'll start with those, I suppose. Those are the robber barons. And these are the people. It's really kind of like how things are going nowadays, huh? But yeah, they're on top. They got all the money. They're fat cats, and then everyone else is doing all the actual work. It's weird how that works. Oh shit. We'll put that back on the board. I got stuck on some trash. Don't worry about me. You know. When you're padding around here, you never know what you're gonna step on. Like holy guacamole. You gotta watch your step. If it's squishy, you're okay. If it's sharp, it's not gonna feel very good. That's David Rockefeller, a philanthropist. He's a philanthropist. He's a good guy. The Rockefellers, good people. They're philanthropists. It's true. That's what they're called. Why? I don't know. Seems like a really weird word for robber baron. This seems like an inaccurate. Seems inaccurate. Philanthropist sounds like a good thing as opposed to a bad thing. Cool. All right, so we got more robber barons here. They're just chilling, right? And they're overlooking all the little people, making sure all these congressmen do what they want. You better do what we want. We've got the money and the oil. Oh, yes, sir. Oh. That's what happened. That is legit what happened. Guess what happened? Okay, so. I mean, there's more pictures here, too. Oh, here's a good one. Here's a good one. All right, so I'm sure some of you have seen, uh, what was it? There Will Be Blood. Oh, that's kind of based on the robber barons, honestly. If you didn't think you knew anything about robber barons and you have seen No Country or There Will Be Blood, no, you know plenty about robber barons. You know about at least one of them. You know about one robber baron and the things they would do to succeed, and that was Standard Oil, which back in the day, This was what Standard Oil used to be scary as shit. I feel like, Standard Oil. It's just a giant evil octopus. It's kind of creepy, but yeah, that's the milkshake guy. That's what he was dealing with. Giant oil octopus. I mean, there's probably more pictures up there, but I mean, goddamn, look at it. Can you tell which one's grabbable or not? I can't. You know, I can't. I mean, I probably could, but I'll say I can't. All right, so I will explain it to you as as I can, as best I can. Okay. This isn't quantum physics, so it says, trust me, it's not going to be that crazy. Also, we do have a video playing on the thing. It is, I think that's Chicago in like 1880, which is the Gilded Era. This is a restored video from the Gilded Era, really, which is cool. You know, back then, they didn't realize they were being screwed. These days, some of us don't even realize we're being screwed. I mean, some people realize they're being screwed, but they're into it, so it's not really a big deal. Like, some people like being fucked. I'm just saying. Not all of us. It's not for everybody, but every person you see in this old video, maybe they enjoyed it too. You don't know. It's 2025. You can't really judge people for that anymore. I mean, you can. I encourage it, but I'm sure they'll get mad at you. And just hey, stop fucking. That's what you gotta tell people. Oh shit, where did? Sorry about that. I just spun you guys across the entire country. That was unintentional. I didn't mean to do that for you. So we'll start. So you can if you pause the video, you could have read all my notes and then you beat me. You win. But you probably didn't read all my notes, so you do not win. Actually, just saying. So. The Gilded Era was between 1877 and the 1900s, right? So it's like less than 30 years that this era existed for. Just a small gap of time. And it was a period of history known as the Gilded Age. The Gilded Age. It began right after the Reconstruction era, Reconstruction Age, or whatever, of America, which the Reconstruction Age would be, basically, they had the Civil War right before the Reconstruction Age, so, we blew everything up, and then we had to fix it, basically, and I guess in the process of fixing it, the Gilded Era happened. The Gilded Age happened. So, following the Gilded Era, just before the 1900s to 1920, that was known as the Progressive Era. So, as the Gilded Age ended, the Progressive Age happened, and that's where a lot of democratic policies sprung up, around that period, because that was a time of basically, I don't know, social policies, and they just freed the slaves, because Civil War was just right, it was in the backyard in terms of history, and so the 1900s to the 1920s was, and plus anti-corruption, because the Gilded Era really just made people think very poorly of corporations and industries and stuff like that, because they were really fucking people, and it was not good. It wasn't good, the treatment of people back then. Now, in the Progressive Era, they tried to mitigate political corruption. The corruption that was seen in the Gilded Era, and nobody could even predict the type of corruptions that were occurring, because it was just basically a bunch of people exploiting a brand new video game. That's essentially what happened with America. America was essentially a video game in a beta period, and then these fuckers showed up, these robber barons showed up and just started exploiting all sorts of shit, which today, if they were to do anything that they were doing back then, well, they'd go to jail. It's all illegal now. So they just took, and then unfortunately right after the Progressive Era, we had the Great Depression, so we had 20 years of let's focus entirely on social stuff, and then I guess we forgot about I don't know, jobs and food. So we had to deal with the Great Depression after that, and that lasted until a war happened. So the Progressive Era does seem nice, but it resulted in the saddest, most awful period of American history as well. So It's like cause and effect shit. It's always that way. Now, for a short time, the Gilded Age, it was like a period of like super rapid growth, like crazy rapid growth, like industrialization and like urbanization were like fucking like going crazy because they were starting to build the trains, and so they had the ability to just move to and from very quickly. It's not horses anymore. So like which is very advantageous uh, if you wanted to start building cities, which they did. And during the Gilded Era, like steel manufacturers and oil manufacturers and stuff like that, they were making bank. They were making like bank because we needed steel to build skyscrapers and bridges and railways, stuff like that. So like everything was growing for like a crazy amount, like right before the 1900s, and then leading into the 1900s, we basically, I mean, it's almost kind of the America we know today, with a few changes. It's only been 100 years now. Oh, yep, and it also there was a lot of technological advancements in the Gilded Era because like people like Nikola Tesla, he was around in the Gilded Era. That's when he was doing his bullshit. Uh, so we had like some inventions like the telephone and phonograph. Electricity was kind of like really worked into fruition like around the Gilded Age, not completely because it took them a lot longer than 20 years or 23 years, which is how long the Gilded Age lasted. And then notably, they had a lot of combustion engines. That's like the big thing. Oil as well, because of trains. Like trains were like a big deal back then for sure. Because yeah, but trains were like a huge deal. Trains were like surprisingly like a way a lot of like old business moguls made a lot of money, and other means too. Because it was the Wild West, and you just think cowboys and Indians, which we will be talking about Indians today. You just think cowboys and Indians, and you go, okay, the Wild West, they're just shooting each other. No, no, there's like businessmen doing shit back then too. Like I'm saying, go watch. There Will Be Blood. It's kind of basically what was going on back then. It's a very good period piece, I think. Cool. All right, well we got one out of the way. We got one. I'll find a good spot for it. We'll put it in here. I'm gonna put it in here. Hey, look. Just slide it in here. It's gone. It's gone. I never have to read it again. It's gone. It's permanently gone. We've permanently dealt with it. And if I need it again, hopefully I forget where it is by the time I find it, right? Well, okay, so I read one. Now I'm gonna take a break because last time I sped through all of my note cards and I felt like my voice hurt really bad afterwards. So I'm gonna take the notes one at a time instead of because I was rapid firing those notes. So we're gonna go into the break room back there, chill out. We'll be back in here for a little bit. Here, let's go to the break room. See, it's not so bad back here. It's not so bad back here, right? I mean, it could be worse. It could be way worse back here, but it's not. Oh shit, that was a good movie. It was a good movie. Oh shit, did you just get here? I gotta show you what we're talking about. You're probably just like, what are they talking? What is he doing in the break room? Well, last when I did the quantum physics stream, I think I said like 18,000 words in an hour, and my voice hurt really bad after. You gotta really start fucking talking. You gotta really yap to get it all out. But we're talking about the Gilded Era, the money heads and the robber barons and the capiche, stuff like that. But I'm going to my break room, and then I'll read another note. There's a bunch in there. Look, I got a whole drawer full of them. Look how many notes we got. And then that one, that's an important note. That's why it's on the desk. I put it on the desk so I would remember to read that one before I started putting my hands in the drawer. Oh my God! Did you get a soda? That's pretty good. You got one of these. You got one of those. You got one of these. I don't know what they taste like. Nobody does. Oh, shit, message. Does that even appear on here? I don't even know. Vice or 7. Whoop, 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 whoop. But yeah, anyways, I'm going back to my break corner. There's red here. It's way redder here than I was anticipating. But it's got my radio. Which, I mean, I could just bring my radio anywhere I want. But I like to keep it here. Oop. I like to keep it right here, you know? So I can go back here and take my break. In my break room. How are you doing today, Armor? Garrison? Oh, the Blood Moons. Yeah, that's Six's favorite one, too. That's Six's favorite one, too. Till I told him... I think I told him what it was. It's a Bloody Mary. But carbonated. Which it is... I mean, I was just thinking of, like... What's the most awful thing I could put in a can? I was like, that's probably it. It'd be like a V8 with carbonation and, like, vodka. I can assume, anyways. I don't know. So, do you guys know anything about the Gilded Era? Shit. What the? My camera. Well, my camera's acting weird, but I'll get it in a second. Yeah, well, it's the 1870s to like the 1900s. The 20s was the Great Depression. And then before that, we had in like the 1900s to... Let me get this camera working. The 1900s to the 1920s. The heck? What am I stuck on back here? Oh, I was like fusing through the chair and freaking myself out. The break room is not so much of a break room anymore. You'd be like coladas. Yeah, you'd like them. You should try it. Drink some beer. Be a rebel. Be cool. Wow. Harrison's probably too much of a nerd to drink beer because she's smart. You know, nerds are smart. That's the 1880s. That is the 1880s. Look at these 1880s people walking around. Oh, this guy's running from the camera. Oh, I'm on camera. See that guy? Look at that person. What the hell is that? Is that taking my soul? Is that taking my soul? You know? This is 1880s. They don't know what the fuck this camera is floating around. This goddamn Google Earth vehicle from the 1880s. Oh shit! Look at there's a camera. I better wave my arms around. Oh my god. Oh, well, they cut it off. They didn't let any of those people get any screen time. That's a shame. They seem very excited about it. They seem very excited about it. Dang. All right, we're moving on to the next topic. Robber barons. Oh shit. The robber barons is a derogatory term for bankers and industrialists in the late 1800s who basically monopolized various industries in a time where the consideration to do so was not yet properly like envisioned. So they were exploiting the system like hard. So they were able to gain like vast wealth using tactics that are not legal anymore. Yeah, they're great. This is robber barons, or as they call the captains of industry. That Google likes to put them, which is like that's an insult to these. That's an insult to me that they would like try and like repaint these people's name to captains of industry rather than, I don't know, sons of bitches. You know. Now, they would monopolize huge industries like oil, banking, retail supplies, steel, the railroad industry. They basically would fuck any competition out, and they would basically the robber barons would make their companies government entities. So they were just like invincible like forces of nature. And the best part is these people are still, their families still call the shots today, and like they have never like had retribution for just screwing everybody. Game capital, yeah. God, yeah. I mean, it's nice. Industry is nice, but the way it started was nasty. Now, basically, as along with like monopolizing all of these like resources, basically, uh, they would they would they stifle like all the competitions by because they'd have enough money to lower their prices enough to where anyone trying to compete with them with steel or oil or this or that and the other, it just there would be no profit in it because they had enough money to be like, well, we'll fucking make it 2 cents. Fuck you, you know. Like that's what like Standard Oil would do, and it worked. It worked really well. By the end of it, I'm pretty sure Standard Oil like it was producing 90% of our like America's like oil. Like there's a 0% chance for competition there, and they can still do it too. Like the fucking people who started that are still very much living in mansions and drinking like weird, I don't know, weird shit. You know, like they're still just happily well off, despite the fact that they really screwed the pooch. Basically, they would scheme together too. Like the ones, the robber barons would actually scheme with one another and be like, yeah, well, I agree to set our prices like this so we can fuck over Johnny. Like, yeah, we'll do this and then we'll fuck over Johnny and then we'll raise our prices back up. Like they would like conspire with each other to just, like insider trading kind of shit. But before it was illegal, like that's great. What a great. I mean, I say before it was illegal, but clearly our politicians do it these days and like nobody cares because they all do it and it's ridiculous and it should obviously be stopped, but the people in charge don't want it to be stopped, so it will never be stopped. That's just how that works because they're taking advantage of it. So there's like names associated with like the robber barons. The Rockefellers, everyone's heard of them. They were like the oil people. They were the oil people who had 90% of the fucking revenue for all oil. Like they just basically annihilated all competition, and all oil was just Rockefeller oil, which is what they did. Standard Oil. They're a bunch of fucking buttheads. And they're filthy rich now and doing weird evil shit. So like it's not like they like got rich and then we're like, okay, cool. Like we fucked over the world once, no big deal. No, they just keep doing it. Like they're like insatiable. Like their greed is like insatiable. There's the Carnegies, which you know of Carnegie Hall, I'm sure. The Carnegies are responsible for basically monopolizing the steel industry back in the day, and they like with the Rockefellers, I think they controlled like 50% of like the steel output in the country, or 40%, which is insane. It's insane. That's incredible. And like both the Rockefeller Standard Oil and like the Carnegie Steel became like government entities. They like just they basically just became so powerful they weren't even like a corporation anymore. The Vanderbilts, J.P. Morgan, and then the Goulds, which were responsible for all the railway like shenanigans that happened. All these families and a lot more. There's like I think like 20 families associated with the robber barons, but these are like the names that you might have actually heard, and like our families that still operate like semi publicly. They're notable families, and they were in fact robber barons, not captains of industry. And to this day, most of them still hold really heavy influence on our entire world, our politics, our countries, different countries, not just America. And we just let them. We just let them. We just let them do what they want. Like they literally, the Rockefellers have genuinely been like influencing world politics for almost 200 years, and nobody stops that. It's ridiculous because they don't have a good track record of being like good people. They have a track record of slaves, especially back then, and then treating like their workers like absolute garbage, and just basically stomping on any competition, which is I think nasty. This is the country of like freedom and opportunity, but yet we're allowing some fucking oil baron to just take over everything for what, you know, for what. We got a drawer for this one. We got a drawer for this one. But that's the robber barons in a nutshell. Don't worry, we'll be tapping more into these people later. Yeah, I got some info on these people. And every time Google's like, no, they weren't evil. They're captains. It's funny. You Google this shit 4 years ago, would have said completely different. Very recently, like I guess because Google has AI on it now, but it's like programmed to be like, no, they're actually it's false that they treated anyone bad ever. What? What the fuck? Then why did they make the fucking There Will Be Blood? Are you telling me that's a fucking complete fabrication of events? You know? Well, you got to sue that guy then, because he talks some real shit about Standard Oil. Like, right? If there's no such thing as robber barons, then what the fuck is that movie all about? You know? I'm just saying that movie was like legitimately been like, yeah, let me just capture like this weird 20-year period where like business moguls went literally insane and tried to take over the world. You know? It wasn't a war, but you know what? You don't have to take over the world with a war. It's kind of crazy. You can literally just brainwash the population with like movies and shit like that, and you can take over the world pretty easy that way. You know, as long as the message fits and people agree to it, you've won. You don't need to. The war is useless, but like ideas can like infect. You know. Well, oh wow, I've turned around like 6 times. I mean, which way am I supposed to be facing? Oh, I guess that makes sense, but I don't like that. Well, we're back in the break room. I read a note. I'm going back here before I run out of breath. You know, that's how it is. We got a lot more tidbits to dive into. I was tempted to do more science, but I realized I don't like science that much. Quantum physics was breaking my brain. Just trying to explain it was like I don't even halfway understand it all. I tried, but there's like so much. I mean, it's fucking quantum physics. Of course, I'm not going to understand it. I tried. Like I tried to use my reasonable brain to be like, well, it's got to make some sense, right? Like, because when I looked into quantum physics, originally I thought it was all theories, and then I realized that no, there's like at least 4 like proper like applications of quantum physics that scientifically work and like can be replicated in a lab in certain environments. So yeah, quantum physics is indeed like a real thing. Quantum mechanics is an actual thing. Like quantum entanglement is an actual real thing. There's no like doubt about it. It's not a theory. It can be replicated in a lab consistently with like no question about it. That's weird, I think. That's really weird. That and the superposition from quantum physics is actually replicated in labs consistently too. So that's a real thing too. I have no idea what these damn quarks are. You know, the particles associated with quantum physics. They're weird. They make Schrodinger's box, all that stuff. There's something to it, but I'll never be smart enough to actually understand it. Now these fucking robber barons, though, that's not quantum physics to tell you that they're a bunch of buttheads. That's the opposite of quantum physics. That's a bunch of dummies, bunch of damn slave owners who got lucky with gold rushes, and then use their fucking gold rush money to just I don't know, just buy up everything. Oh, just wait till I get to Thomas Edison. That guy's a butthead too. I hope you guys don't like Thomas Edison, because I'm gonna talk some mad shit about the man. I don't like him. I think he's a damn fraud. He's definitely a fraud. He's got to be. There's something weird about that guy. Anyone who got like really like famous in like the mid to late 1800s, or like all like weird like schemers and like snake oil salesmen, like that's the only way you like thrive in like before the 1900s is you just trick everyone. You just trick people, and you also act like a unempathetic monster. Like that's how you survive back. I mean, maybe that's the same for nowadays too. Well, holy shit. You know, maybe it's the same for nowadays too. But I don't know. I don't watch the news. I don't watch the news. And you shouldn't either. You should not either. News is just exists to make you stressed. The news exists to make you worry about shit that doesn't actually involve you. The news, yeah, because if you really think about it, the zone you live in and your surrounding miles around your particular living zone, that's what matters, really, I think. You know, if like a giant monster attacks Africa, that doesn't affect us, even if it's on, you're better, like if there's a giant monster going on eating people in Africa, right? Like just a big old kaiju, it still doesn't affect us really. So, don't worry about it. Don't even watch the news. Is that happening right now? Probably, yeah. But I'm not going to check the news to find out. I feel bad for anyone getting eaten. Let me see here. Oh, hey guys, go to Streamboo right now. If you guys want some free viewers. Yeah, that's right. I shouted you out, you piece of shit. Fucking Streamboo. That's right. I want everyone to see you. I want the shame. I bet you're used to getting like immediately blocked, right? You're used to your messages getting hidden. No. Everyone, look at this guy, Brennan Holgerzer. That guy. Look at him. Wow. How do these people think that they're like clever? It's been like 4 years straight up. There's the same exact message, right? How is Twitch not like? Why does Twitch just not like auto ban someone who does that verbatim message, right? I'm just saying, like it's the same message every time. It's been that for years. Twitch should just hire me for a day, and I'll be like, here you go. I'll add this one sentence to the block, and if anyone ever typed it, they get permabanned. That's it. Wow, problem solved. I literally solved Twitch's biggest issue in a day. That's all I need. Just get me in there, Twitch. What are you guys doing? Hopefully the president of Twitch isn't watching like 20-year-old girls, But he does. That's what he does. That's why Twitch sucks. The fucking owner of Twitch is just like, he's here for different priorities than any of us. They think boomers? I mean, there probably are boomers too, but I feel like the boomers of our era are different than the current modern boomers who grew up on the internet, really. Like, we're pretty wise to this shit. We've all been to old websites and clicked that really nice rainbow link that says, like, hey, you're the 1 millionth visitor, and you've won a Winn-Dixie gift card, We've all seen that. We've all seen, like... And then we were wise to it long ago. Alright, I got another note to read. Hopefully it's a good one. I mean, it will be a good one. It's the damn robber barons, and they smell. They're smelly. I'll just pull one out of the hat. Ooh. Carnegie. That's what we got. We're going to talk about Carnegie. So, Andrew Carnegie is a noted steel mogul, essentially. And during the Gilded Age, steel was wanted. It was needed. It was specifically to build like the buildings, the skyscrapers, the roads, not the roads, the railroads, bridges. I don't know, anything needed steel. We came to a point where we fucking needed it. Simple as that. And so Andrew Carnegie was like, well, I'm gonna open up Carnegie Steel, right? And he decided, like, I'm also going to. Well, he did it the right way. I feel like out of all the robber barons, Andrew Carnegie is not like the bad one, completely. Because he was just smart. Like he started using like the modernized technologies of the 1800s to produce steel at a like more efficient rate, and so it was cheaper for him to produce the steel, and he could produce a lot of it fast, and his competitors, it would just by default, because they didn't have the technology he did, by default, like their steel would suck more. It would take longer to make, and it would cost them more to make. So he unintentionally monopolized it by just being extremely efficient, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. He didn't like go like crazy and start like scheming. He just was like super focused on his own efficiency of like his factories and stuff. So Carnegie is like, oh, all right, he's okay. He's not the worst one. He came from nothing. I don't know about that. I looked up all these robber barons today, and not a single one of them came from nothing. They all came from an already rich family, And so like it wasn't like there was any growing. And back then, that's like the gold rush eras where like the most random ass fucking person was just getting like filthy rich just based on luck. That's gold rush, right? That's not like you're not the most clever person in the world or the most charismatic person in the world. You just got lucky and found a bunch of gold. Like that's how so many like really shitty people got rich back in those eras because the gold rush was a real thing. Like that's how people were getting rich. They weren't getting rich off of like selling oil. They would get lucky and they would fucking find a bunch of gold and then they'd be like a elite lord. And unfortunately, luck determined that like some of the most evil people on the planet were the ones who benefited from the gold rushes. I'm just saying, like it's a real thing. Why do you think like California had like the biggest gold rush, and so like that's the only reason it's like affluent to this day because people would like make like they like a lot of the most richest like old Americans they fucking did it because they went to California and there was like a nice valley of gold there and everyone struck it rich. They settled down and then they did their best. New York was another place a lot of these people came from, but it's mostly California. Like a lot of them like got rich there and then came out of California like be like, yeah, we got all this money now, so you need to bow to me. Like the gold rush was stupid. It was dumb. It created like some super egos. Now the problem with Carnegie is that he paid his workers very little. He overworked them, and they died a lot, and they got sick a lot, and the working conditions were just awful. Like every singular job in the 1880s to 1900s was like the worst job market you could ever have. No matter what job you had, you were not going to make ends meet, no matter what, and you're probably going to die in a few years working at any of these because it was the industrialization era. So all your jobs are going to be very dangerous industrial jobs in an era where we did not have machines to help do the work. You would do the work, and then your boss would be like, "Hey, fuck you," and then you go home with your $2 for 16 hours of work, and you eat some stale bread and go back to work tomorrow. Like it was a bad era. The Gilded Era sucked. The Gilded Age was like awful for people. It was like the Great Depression, except we call it the Gilded Era as a joke. As a joke, we're making fun of it because on the outside, it looked glamorous and golden, but right beneath the surface of that gilded layer, it was just rotten in the core. Like people realized that eventually. And by 1901, Carnegie Steel became an actual U.S. entity and started basically producing 42% of the steel that anyone would ever like want to buy or use. So they basically monopolized half of the market in like 10 or 20 years. And I mean, I don't like we don't hear about Carnegie Steel anymore. So I'm not sure if the Carnegie family has like continued on. Maybe they like decided to go like not be evil like elites. But Carnegie Steel, I mean, I don't hear about it today. I don't even know what kind of steel companies we have today. But aside from treating his workers like shitty, Andrew Carnegie kind of just was a very efficient businessman and unintentionally monopolized his industry. I feel like he didn't do it he wasn't doing it purposefully. He just was like he had like his blinders on and was just like focusing on efficiency, and as simple as that. That's Carnegie. We're gonna put it in the drawer, so we never have to look at it again, ever. It's gone. Oh shit. Okay, good. Let's go back to the break corner. I read one. I did my job. I read another one. I've read three. I've read three whole ones today. Yeah, the Robert Baron. The funny thing about the Gilded Era, I think, is that it shares like 10,000 similarities with the current era we are in ourselves currently. It's weird. It's like we forgot about the robber barons and they've slowly shifted back in because they went into the shadows for a while. Like once people started calling out their bullshit, people like the Vanderbilts, J.P. Morgan, like people like that, the Rockefellers, they all kind of went into like hiding. I feel like, but like nowadays, do you not notice like the Vanderbilt, like the Rockefellers, like kids are like trying to be like famous singers and shit. Like they are happy to come back into the spotlight now because we've gotten to a point where the people who remember the Gilded Age are dead, and nobody reads history books anymore. And even if you Google, oh, thank you, even if you Google the Gilded Age, like the results are all weird, and they defend the robber barons as like they were captains of the industry. How are you doing today, Sparky? We're just talking about corruption in the government. Hopefully you're having a decent night, decent day. One of the two, I assume. Let's see what else we got on here. But yeah, here I'll show you. We got the Gilded Age and the robber barons, and the money full of the brain full of money. The things we've got. Yeah, I try to. Well, I mean, I try every Friday. I get in VR, drink a little whiskey, and I talk about some sort of topic. Last week we talked about quantum physics, and I feel like my brain was gonna explode. Uh, you know, it was great. Oh, they made a good series about it. Oh, you shitting me? I did not know that. I was for me. I think it's There Will Be Blood. That movie, like with the guy who drinks the milkshake. That's the one. Like that's like one of the movies that really tipped me off to like look into like the 1880s and stuff. Because I was just like, holy shit, what was going on back then? These people are like acting real evil, like like super evil. Let's see what else we got. Oh God, best topic, railroads. Oh. So I do like trains. Trains are very cool. And the Gilded Era, the Gilded Age was a definite time for railroads. Trains, locomotion. The problem is that the speed and haste was like the most important goal when building the railroads back then. They were trying to do it quick. Like the Civil War just ended, and we wanted to, connect all the states. Which makes sense. So basically, we were kind of. The first problem was that to achieve the goal, we had to very viciously just like rail right through, like Native American territory, and basically during that period, we it was. I mean, it's not like a documented war, but it is considered a war that was happening like during the Gilded Era. We were just taking out Indians, like taking out entire tribes who were trying to stop us from just paving through areas to make railroads because I'm pretty sure we weren't asking them for like permission to be like, can we just like go right through your territory? Like, no. I'm like, well, we got guns and cars, so we're just gonna do it, and that's what they did. And honestly, it's like that's one of the main reasons why the Native Americans are like just like small tribes now. Like we like the robber barons. I won't say we because we were not the robber barons. They were their own fucking group of like 20 people. They, that's their problem. But they just decimated all these people. The savages or whatever they called them. For just industry's sake. And if they weren't in such a damn hurry, we could have done it a little differently. I feel like we didn't have to like decimate the whole region. The pricing for trains transporting was also like ridiculous because they would favor like known businesses and known like elite families and like big oil or what was it called Standard Oil. Like basically they would not have to pay much at all to transport their oil on locomotion trains, but like a average farmer with like a big thing of grain they want to bring to like another city, they would have to pay like triple the prices, almost quadruple the prices because the railroads were giving like these they were basically like giving like they were making like rich people pay less to use their rails to transport their goods, they had to offset that cost by just putting it on the normal person, like, namely farmers. It's very unfortunate. Because yeah, it was like screwed up because it should have kind of been the other way around. But unfortunately, like farmers and like normal people, any common person, basically couldn't really use the trains, at all. It was like super overpriced because they were they were footing the bill for the fact that like trains and stuff were trying to like cater to like businessmen and congressmen and stuff like that, so they would all get discounts. Meanwhile, Jimbo the farmer has to pay like like 4 times as much just because he's nobody special. It's a shame. It's a damn shame. That's railroads because I like trains. I was sad to read about the trains though. I'm like, well, shit. I did not realize we had to like go through like 10 gallons of blood to get these railroads in place. We're gonna go ahead and put this away. We've read it. It's been read. It is read. It goes in here. It goes in. There's a bunch in there already too. Look at this. We still got a whole drawer full of things. Look what's on top. Standard Oil. I mean, you'll know about Standard Oil if you've ever watched There Will Be Blood. The milkshake guy, that's what he was doing. It's the same shit. You think he's crazy? I don't know. For all you know, Carnegie Steel was doing the same shit. For all you know, Mr. Andrew Carnegie like also drank someone's milkshake in front of him in a dramatic way, and just ruined that guy's day. Like how do we know if he did not or not? Oh shit. Well, yeah, I try to take like a little bit of a break before reading another note card because I don't want to burn my voice out. I've done it before. I'm not used to do it, but it happened. I was like, oh shit. I left with a damn sore throat. Hopefully everyone's having a decent night. It's good as, it's a good Friday. Everyone likes Fridays. But does that? Oh shit! I'm way turned around. I was wondering why I was freaking out. I'm way away from my lighthouses. There we go. Lighthouse adjacent now. Yeah, Friday. I mean, a couple weeks ago I did talk about how I don't understand why people think Friday's the best day. Saturday is, right? Especially if you work on Friday. Why are you getting excited for a day you're working on? I think that's a fair point. Right? Is that not a fair point? I think it is. Well. Yeah, I was kind of like humdrum on like what topic to have today. Robber Barons is kind of an easy one. You just basically have to say, yeah, well, these people were doing shitty things back in the day, and that's just how it was. But yeah, I'm trying to like, I don't know. I'm trying to find good topics that will keep the banter rolling a little bit, and I don't know, give people a little nugget or two of wisdom, I feel like there's no wisdom to be gleaned from fucking God, from quantum physics. Like that was just madness. Madness with like verifiable results, which is the weirdest part. I think that's the weirdest part, honestly. Oh. I want to bring you with me, so here we go. Get over here. I also made this world. I am a world maker. I mean, that's mainly what I'm good at. I like to make worlds. I'm probably better at making worlds than I am at like streaming. Yeah, definitely better at making worlds than I am at making avatars. But I did make all the things here. In this, I'm basically just a gremlin, though. It's unfortunate. I can't be I wanted to be cool like everyone else, but it's just not gonna happen. I'm stuck in the. I don't want this one. I'm just stuck in my gremlin form. Are you kidding me? You're not gonna let me grab Standard Oil? I mean, eventually I will. You can't stop me forever. There we go. We got Standard Oil. Oh. So the Rockefellers founded Standard Oil in like 1870, and after its growth spiraled immediately out of control by the year 1890, just 20 years, Standard Oil monopolized America's oil industry and essentially controlled 90% of the petroleum production in America. To get rid of competition, Standard Oil would commonly drop their prices down to unreasonable prices and force competitors to sell out, as they simply wouldn't be able to make any money based on the prices that Standard Oil would set for them. And like Standard Oil's, like they would have some cronies, work. It was Standard Oil and the competitors, and then a few oil companies who were kind of, playing ball, and they would just adjust their prices properly. So any like competitors they didn't like would just get flushed down the drain. Standard Oil also became a trust of America in 1882, which made the company basically a legal entity and allowed for investors to become a factor in the company, which would legally box out most potential competition from starting their own oil companies. Since investors would certainly lean, they would certainly lean on the actual like the oil company with trusts, with government trusts attached to it. And also, since they were so like involved with, just the government, like congressmen and lawmakers would, look the other way for the benefit of Standard Oil. Like with the trains, who would give them a discount if they ever needed to transport oil on like locomotion. And Standard Oil was like, yeah, it's weird, but that's the Rockefellers. That's how they got so rich. It's because they were just selling oil. They were like going like crazy on it. The oil rush, I'm saying, and we still use oil today. That's the funny part, is that we still haven't gotten out of the box, the trap of oil. It's a finite resource. Oil is what? Oil is literally just decaying ancient dead bodies and dead dead vegetation. It's a very finite resource, and it's a little bit diabolical that we'd be using it too. Hey, I power my car with the melted corpse of a dinosaur. Like what the. That's. If you really think about oil, a fossil fuel, right? It's just decaying like matter from like a living thing or a plant or a dinosaur, person. It's decaying matter. It's like death. Like it's like a death substance. And that's our main. We use it all the time. We use like this weird ancient death gunk to power like everything. And it's finite. I mean, a lot of things have died on this planet, but it won't last forever. It's weird that we don't like at least consider some alternative paths for like energy. There were very times were very hard for the common man in the Gilded Ages. Wealth was heavily unbalanced towards the 1%, and the common people were basically, they were being thrown like scraps. They were being treated like animals, and workers in general they weren't even treated with any respect. They expected you to work, and they expect you to say thank you for the $2 you get at the end of the day. So during the Gilded Era, many protests and riots, and particularly like worker strikes, occurred. And some of them were like some of the major ones were the Pullman strike, the Homestead strike, the railroad strike, and the Haymarket strike, which all essentially protected wage losses. They were protesting wage losses, and like not enough hours or too many hours, and really unsafe working conditions that would basically just off you very quickly for just working there for a couple of years. They didn't care. Like they in this era they did not care about people. They were just a essential tool. They were another resource, and so they didn't really treat them like human beings back then. But I mean, gosh, this is what right after the Civil War, so we just we just freed the slaves and stuff. So we were very happy to dehumanize human beings to begin with. Nobody was really able to make a comfortable living, no matter how much they worked or how much drive they had. It was irrelevant in the shadow of the looming industries. Like it didn't matter how much how hard you worked, unless you were a scheming cigar sucking, like mogul, you weren't gonna get anywhere. It didn't matter. They didn't care. You work hard and then you die. That's how this worked back in the Gilded Ages. All right, we read another, and I said I'd take a break every time I read one, so I will. So I will just do exactly that. Oh, we'll go back into the break room. The break room's good. We'll just take a little break. Hopefully everyone's having a good night, though. I hope you are. If you're not, well, I'm not going to be upset with you if you're not having a good night. In fact, if you're not having a good night, feel free to say so. Like, that's great. That's great for me. I'll talk about that. Because when people tell me they're having a good day, there's not much discussion to be had there, right? Like, oh, okay, good. Like, you don't even need to tell me anything else. You're having a good day? Great. You're having a bad day, though. Tell me. What the fuck's going on? Like, I would like to bend an ear to your tribulations in life, Oh. Because if someone's good, that's fine. I don't even want to risk messing with that, But if someone's in a bad spot, bad mood, bad day, I'll fuck with that. I'll screw with that. There's a chance I could make it a little better. But when someone tells you they're having a good day, they're already having the good day, and whatever you say could make them have a bad day. So those people worry me more. Like, oh shit, you're having a good day? Oh fuck, let me get out of here. I don't want to mess up your good day. But if you're having a bad day, hell yeah. What's up? I'm gonna bother you. Yeah, I'm your problem now. Oh, God. I mean, there are like topics I could pick that I don't even really would have to do research for, but those are easy. Those are like the ones I'd save for later. I am intentionally picking like kind of boring topics in general, just to see how I can handle it. Because I feel like in a lot of ways, I'm still kind of testing the waters for which sorts of topics I like to talk about, what sort of vibe I wish to have, and I think invariably this will grow over time. It will like evolve. It might not always just be a weekly topic. We'll see. We got to keep testing the waters until we find something good. But so far, I don't mind it. I don't mind it. What I say I'm very passionate about robber barons? Not really. I'm aware of them. I would like other people to be aware of them. But that's about the extent of it. There's no like crazy mysteries here. There's no conspiracy theories either. I mean, according to Google, the fact I call them robber barons is a conspiracy theory. And I say, Google, Google, go fuck yourself. Like, what are you talking about? It's not a conspiracy theory. It's go read an old newspaper from that era. That is just what they were called. Like, give me a break. Like, it's fascinating to see like the modern control structures like of current like the current times just trying to flat out like just morph history and change reality. And I wonder too, this is a conspiracy. I'll tell you a conspiracy. Like the Mandela effect I've been thinking about, right? And it seems like a thing because the one main factor is the cornucopia on the Fruit of the Loom, because I know that's a real thing. I know that had to have been a real thing because I'm sorry, but I don't think I've ever seen a cornucopia in any other setting ever. And the only reason I know what a fucking cornucopia is because of the Fruit of the Loom logo. I think there's some like tangible like history alteration going on, and it's not magic. It's not an alternate dimension. I think genuinely like whoever's in charge, whoever's the powers that be, are genuinely like very slowly just morphing our history, and we just noticed. We noticed like little things, and we're like, what the fuck? And like, no, you're crazy. Yeah, you're crazy. No, it was always like this. No, it was always like this. The Chef Boyardee logo always had a guy with an afro every time. He had a guy with an afro and a big white beard. It's like, what are you talking about? you know, like they try to make us think. There's something to it. I think the Mandela effect is not like an alternate dimension or like some weird shit like that. I think genuinely like people are trying to slowly like they shave away aspects of history, and they're trying to do it very sneakily and subtly. And I don't understand what the fuck the problem was. Like, why can't you just tell me this damn cornucopia? I don't know what that is otherwise, without Fruit of the Loom. So most robber barons are mainly from New York, and the second most popular state where robber barons operated was California. Right before the Gilded Era, a gigantic gold rush occurred in California, and it helped kickstart a huge push for the industrialization in the Gilded Era in California. The thing about gold rushes is that it wasn't the smartest or the most honorable people that got rich. It was the lucky. Just lucky people. There's no merit to them. They just fucking dug in the ground and found gold, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Hey, you gotta lick my feet now. I'm a fucking lord." That's what happened. That's what fucking the gold rush did to people. It's insane. I'm not. It's weird, right? You gotta think about it. If you were just some weird mean miner, and then like you fucking dug up like a bunch of gold, and you have like $10 million the next day, you're gonna be like the biggest jerk on the planet. You're gonna 100% be like super like weird about it. Because if you don't earn something properly, like you'll never appreciate the fact that you have it. And I think that's one of the biggest problems with like the elites, the elite class, the 1%, is that most of them really didn't earn anything on their own merits whatsoever. A lot of it is old money, old ancient money, old gold rush money, old slave owner money, stuff like that. And then they're just born into the family rich from default. They get all the benefits they could ever have, and then they're just like, yeah, I'm a genius. I'm a genius person because I was born with $8 billion. I'm just saying, like, the gold rush is actually kind of screwed. Just innovation in general. It put a lot of unfortunate people in positions they should have never been in. Now, the Gilded Age was basically an age of arrogance because race relations sucked. They were dire during the Gilded Ages. There were specifically like actual wars between America and like the Native American tribes because they wanted to build like railroads. So we actually went to war with every singular Native American tribe and then destroyed them. Only a few survived. There's a lot of Native American like tribes that are extinct and gone, and will never. They're just gone. We annihilated them. The only Native Americans who got away were the ones who were smart enough to be like, all right, fuck this. Let's just like dip. Lynchings were like really prominent in the Gilded Era because that was right after the Civil War. So these people were able to like drink a soda pop, integrate with society, and just be a fucking human being. And so lynchings were like crazy because like there was a big group of people who probably were like on the other side of the Civil War, being like, I'm very upset that we lost. I'm evil, blah. So, and unfortunately, like in the Gilded Era specifically, the first Jim Crow law was passed, which the fucking like the African Americans get the slavery ends, and then the Gilded Era happens, and all these like corrupt a congressman decided we're going to pass Jim Crow laws and make these people second-class citizens. So, like, not only were they like screwing over just people and were monopolizing like, like people who were trying to get ahead, they were just being jerks too. They're being racist too. There's just no end to these. Like why am I not allowed to talk shit about these people? I don't understand. Chinese immigration was literally banned in the Gilded Era. Like, if you were Chinese, you were just like, you were spit on. You weren't allowed to immigrate here at all, which is, I feel like that's very similar to nowadays. Like, we have the same, like, sort of weird hatred towards them. And back then, 100 years ago, almost, they were just as, like, shitty towards these people. Unfortunately, and this time, too, it's weird because there's parallels here, too, of back in the Gilded Era, there was a lot of Italian, hey, I'm Italian, and Irish immigrants who came here because it was the Gilded Era. Everything was progressing very quickly, and it was, like, from the outside, it looks like a golden, beautiful paradise. So, yeah, it's like, hell yeah, I'll get on that. No. The people, like, were treated like the Italians, and the Irish, like, complete shit, lynched them, killed them, and, like, they treated the Irish and the Italians very poorly as they immigrated over. It was, like, nasty. If you think it's bad how we treat, like, the immigrants nowadays, just imagine, like, how we treat them now, except we're also, like, just killing them on the streets, and no officers are, like, dealing with it. Which, we haven't gotten to that point in the modern era, but back then, yeah, if you were Italian and walking around in 1880, you'd probably get stabbed. You'd probably get beat up and die. Like, you had to be very low profile about it. The four Irish people, though, they can't even hide it. The moment they open their mouth and talk, over, over, done. Politicians would often give citizenship to immigrants, but in exchange, they'd have to they basically force them to, vote for them. So they were using these people as like just tools, like pawns, like resources. They were using the Irish and the Italians as like resources. Be like, hey, if you don't want to get like beat up on the streets, we'll get you this help. We'll put you here, and you just gotta vote for us. And they would, obviously. It's very similar tactics to nowadays. I'm just saying that like the robber baron era has like reset. It has come full circle once again, I feel like. But that was the age of arrogance, as well as the age of the gildedness. It's just the truth. I can't help you. Look it up. It's all true. Ooh. So here's the weird thing, because I didn't realize this until today. When I was looking into this stuff, making sure my information was like accurate. Because I like to cross check. I don't like to give like bad information. So I will, if I write down a note, I will research it and be like, is this accurate though? And it usually is. The weird thing about the robber barons is that every time I looked up anything, Google was immediate. Like the Google AI was like, well, actually, they were really sweet people and they loved their mothers, and like it's derogatory to call them robber barons, and they're actually captains of their industry. I'm like, holy shit! Like Google is like 100% like playing like defense for these people for some reason. I don't know why is that. I don't know, because there's people like Donald Trump and Jeff Bezos exist. So like, we actually have robber barons right now monopolizing different industries. So I'm not allowed to like. It's a derogatory term to call out somebody for like shitty behavior, So, according to Google, ask Google about robber barons, and then watch their huge like 10 paragraph explanation of like, actually they're really good people and they have a bad rap and blah 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 blah. So these people are called captains of industry and other nipple rubbing terms, and oddly enough, if you look into robber barons, most of the results spend half of the time trying to play defense on the robber barons. It's interesting how we're expected to look back at these people as if they are like captains of the industry and heroes of America, when in reality they use the most brutal tactics you can even fathom to destroy other businesses, to dehumanize the workers, and to turn their families into like these filthy rich monsters who like they they have some weird. There's some weird shit going on in these, like the robber barons, like the genealogy. They've never been punished for like the way they acted either. They've only been rewarded. Like the robber barons have only been constantly rewarded for like their brutal like tactics, and they've never met any retribution. Their families still are way more wealthy than anyone else on the planet, primarily because of the tactics occurring in the Gilded Era. Like you hear about the old money and like these families that have like trillions of dollars. It's because their families' origins are from this Gilded Era. Like they got rich during that era. They exploited all the systems. They got super rich, and then now we got fucking like Jonathan Vanderbilt just like sneezing on you and be like, well, you can't do anything about it because my great grandfather was super rich, you know, because they don't do anything. Like the families of these, I mean, I'm sure like the original robber barons, yeah, they're probably smart, probably fucking geniuses. I mean, they're evil, but they knew what they're doing. But their families, like, they didn't earn any of that. They're just walking around being like, yeah, we're great. Hey, you should like me because I'm, my heritage. It's like, no. Your heritage of, like, what? Screwing people? Yeah, they're bad. But I didn't appreciate how. I was just looking up actual, like, history, documented facts. You can look at old newspapers, and, it's like, it's not like a question mark or a conspiracy theory of, like, that these people were called robber barons. That was what they were called. That's why we had a progressive era right after the fact of when they fell, you know? Like, people were genuinely, like, upset with these people. It's not like a conspiracy or anything like that. It's just history, and I don't like the fact that we're trying to muddy history, Like, we're using the internet and AI to put a big question mark on history, make it a little more muddy. It's true. I'm just saying. Ooh, we got Tesla next. We'll save that one. I'll take a break. I can't help it. I'm sorry. As you guys know, I'm a big proponent of justice and retribution and vengeance. And I hate corruption. I hate monopolies. I hate anyone exploiting systems, exploiting people. So yeah, I have a very distasteful opinion of the robber barons. I'm not gonna call them captains of industry. It's silly to even think that I should call them that. Because you got to think, if they didn't monopolize everything and use like greedy tactics of just like, well, let's just devour everything else and we'll be the biggest fish in the pond. Like, we would have like a bunch of different oil tycoons and they'd all be competing against each other, and innovations would occur because there was competition. Like, it would get better. Monopolies are for like a lazy person who doesn't ever want to work on their quality of standards or like innovate the technology within their particular field. So like, that's the only reason you would ever monopolize anything, is because you're afraid of competition. You're afraid of someone like one-upping you. You're afraid of having to try hard to like, like expand your business or find like a better energy source besides oil. Like, that's the reason they monopolize it. These people are like genuinely cowards. That's why that's why like all these people got into power by stepping on everything else smaller than them and making sure that these people were small enough to be stepped on. Like that's 100% how it worked. And they never got payback for that. Like, they were just allowed to do it, and as a result, we live in like a time where big giant corporations just happily monopolize everything, and nobody thinks that's weird. The only person people like this like shit on for that is Jeff Bezos, but he's just one of many. He's just one of many, and if you don't, and people forget that Jeff Bezos started out with a bookstore, so it's not like he just appeared out of the ether and immediately had Amazon. No, he was selling books. Jeff Bezos sold books for like 10 years, and then like eBay had plenty of opportunities to become a really cool entity. It chose not to. You go on eBay, there's a 50% chance anything you buy on there is going to be a scam. I'm just saying, like, competition was not mitigated. Plenty of people had plenty of time to create a website that would compete with Amazon. Because for 10 years they were just selling books. That's it. That's what Amazon was for. I know because I've gone on Amazon back in the day to buy books. That's what it used to be. Nobody ever, eBay existed. Nobody made like a competitor for eBay. They didn't really like quash out the competition. Jeff Bezos just worked. I mean, he treats his workers pretty shitty though. He's definitely a Robert Barron type. Yeah, he's definitely like in the criteria of Robert Barron. Shit. Guess I'm going slow today. Time's flying a little bit, isn't it? Oh. Okay. I mean, an hour, 20 minutes in already, so that means we have a lot of notes left. We'll get through them, don't worry. I'm just taking it slow. There's nothing you can do about it. You can't escape the slowness. It's too slow. I mean, you could very easily escape the slowness, but I would hope you not. You don't. I think by this point, though, you could definitely click off, go to bed, dream about boobies. Because what I've told you already pretty much gives you a pretty good idea of what Robert Barons are. Even if I have like 8 more notes over there, you got it. I'm just going to go into more detail about how much they suck. Just allow my disdain for these people to just bleed right out. Oh. But before I do that, I guess you guys can look at the radio. I'll be back. Let me get some actual water. You guys, stay cool. Oh. Whoa. Oh, shit. Whoa. I'm back. Don't worry about it. I've returned. Are you ready? Are you ready to hear me talk more shit about these people? I will do it. I'm gonna talk more shit. Hey, you guys want to check out Chicago a little bit more? Look at that. That's Chicago. What's this one? Tesla. We're going to talk about Nikola Tesla. I was going to go into more detail about Tesla, but I feel like he'd be a good topic to actually have on his own. So we're just going to glean on him a little bit, just take a little peek. It's a little, I haven't gone into too much detail. So he died poor, and Tesla enjoyed feeding birds in his old man years. He invented the AC energy. He was pivotal in the invention of the remote control and radios, stuff like that. His Tesla coil contributed heavily to neon lights and fluorescent lights. What the In a country where money is our national religion, it would make sense that histories about robber barons would be... It's weird, yeah, but it wasn't originally, because I feel like I've looked into this topic like a few years ago, and it was like not... It was just free information. It was just there. Like, it was just flat information. This is what they're called. This is what they did. and now it's like weirdly protected. Even like look it up right now. If you like Google robber barons right now on Wikipedia, it's the weirdest shit that where now it says robber barons, and then in quotations it says industrialists. I swear to God, they changed that because fucking 4 years ago, I have a bookmark. I have a bookmark for robber barons, and like the link I have bookmarked, it doesn't say that. They changed that recently. I'm like, no, actually, they're industrialists. They're not evil. Rich people are not evil. We don't do evil. Ooh, I hate it. I fucking hate it. It's so fucking like sleazy and shitty and obvious. The worst part is that it's obvious, and it's like they're spitting in my face, like, what are you gonna do about it? Oh, Google says it's not true. I'm like, Google's like, fine, go on fucking Gallica and read some old books from like the 1880s. You know, it's all there. Buttheads. Gallica is a website where they scan ancient books and put them up there, by the way. That's what the Gallica is. It's a very cool website. You can read all sorts of, like, read an old dictionary on there sometime and be really confused at the fact that they've removed like a bunch of words from the dictionary just because they don't align with, like, go look up an old dictionary definition of Tartaria and Tartaria. Look that up and be really confused at why. And in the span of 150 years, the dictionary took the term Tartaria out of it. And like, if you go back to a book like 1820 and read the dictionary, Tartaria is like, yeah, it was a global empire that ruled the entire world. But we've taken that out of like dictionaries in the past 150 years. But like 150 years ago, you read a dictionary, you look up that definition, and this fucking weird super empire that ruled the whole world was just common knowledge to dictionaries. What the fuck? What the fuck? You know? What the fuck? What do you... You know? I've looked... don't worry, we'll have a Tartaria. We'll have one on Tartaria for sure. There's something weird going on there. It's baffling me for years. Of why there's just a clear, like, there's a clear, like, it's like they cut a slice out of a cake, and I can see the fucking slice cut out of this cake. That is our historical timeline, but like, people don't seem to realize that there is a slice cut out of our cake. I've seen it. I've looked into it. It's really bizarre. I swear to God, that's going to be a very in-depth topic, Tartaria. Big Money figured out how to make the laborers kill themselves to live. Give it a TikTok buzz with a grind. And then the poor will have a pissing contest amongst their fellow poor on how far down to the bone. Yeah, it's true. It's funny because the Gilded Era is pretty much exactly like our current era. It's weird. We've hit a perfect circle in terms of shit like this. Now, Nikola Tesla was a bad businessman. He was very trusting. He was naive. He was honest. And the robber barons quite literally murdered animals using his inventions to make the public think that Nikola Tesla was like a mad scientist. They would literally take alternating current. I think what it was, like, an elephant. They just killed an elephant with this electricity. Just be like, yeah, look what his technology does. It kills animals. This was fucking Thomas Edison doing this. The guy that everyone loves. Like, everyone loves Thomas Edison, yet he was, back in the day, just to fucking discredit Nikola Tesla, he was like using alternating current and just going around and having these public, like, executions of animals. Being, wow, Tesla, oh, wow, electricity killed this elephant. Wow, you should like me. I'm Thomas Edison. I'm a real cool guy. Yeah, that's what they used to fucking do. I swear to you, look it up. Unless Google's like also says, oh, actually that might not be true, even though it's in all the newspapers and old books. It's documented, like, in multiple places. But we're Google. You know, we're Google. We don't like when people talk badly about rich people. The last known owner of Nikola Tesla's patents was John G. Trump, who he was actually a electrical engineer for MIT, and he worked on like basically like X-ray machines for cancer, and he invented a bunch of shit too. So like John G. Trump, who is Donald Trump's fucking uncle, literally he bought all of Tesla's patents, and he was using them for whatever. He invented a bunch of shit too for radiation, like X-ray machines for cancer, you know, cancer like shit. So and he wasn't like a bad guy, I don't think. You know, he was no Trump. He you know, he was not like some weird like reality show star. He was just a dude really interested in electrical engineering, I guess. But weirdly enough, like Trump's Trump's family owns all of Nikola Tesla's patents. Like for some reason they bought them all out, and that's where they lie currently. It's weird. It's weird. Donald Trump, by the way, if you ever wonder what a robber baron is, it's him. He's what a robber baron is basically. That is what him. Jeff Bezos. I wouldn't call Elon Musk a robber baron because I don't feel like you can monopolize space. He's monopolized like social shit, but that's more Mockingbird stuff. It's not robber baron. Robber barons corner a market and take it over. I don't think Elon Musk has done that. I know people don't like him, but fair is fair. I'm just saying, fair is fair. NASA sucks anyways, so give me a break. Oh shit, what we got here? Edison was a second-rate inventor, but in reality, he sold a lot of capital, shady networking to steal patents from actual. Oh, it's funny. It's I'll tell you what, Six, you're right. Because let me see here, Six. I got one for you. Then, we're on the same page, or are we? Where did that one go? Oh, more? You piece of malarkey. Whoa. Oh. Oh. Motherfucker. I swear to you. Wow, it kind of freaks me out a little bit. You know, it's weird. You say that? Because I'm pretty sure I had one on Edison. I had a note on Edison specifically, and I was going to say the exact same stuff you said. It doesn't exist. It's gone. It's not even in there. I know I wrote it, because I wrote it. I wrote it and went, Edison. Gone. What, is this a protected fuck? Yeah, it's okay. Fuck them. I know. I remember what I fucking wrote. Thomas Edison is a piece of shit. Thomas Edison is one of my least favorite people, in history. Because the man invented 1,093 things, right? But you know what he was actually doing? And it's documented he was doing this shit. Because he did it to fucking Nikola Tesla. Where he just showed up and was like, hey, this is some really cool stuff. Really cool patents you have. I'll pay you some money. And then Nikola Tesla's a really cool guy. He's like, I'll give you 51% of this, Because he was a good guy. But fucking Thomas Edison, I am pretty sure, I am 100% certain he is a dude who got rich from the gold rushes. And he's probably had fucking 20 IQ. And all he did was go around and fucking show up to a poor farmer and be like, oh, look, let me look at your patents. Oh, yeah, it'd be really hard for you to patent these ideas, but I can do it. I am Thomas Edison. I'll give you this chump change. Have a good day. That's how he bought all of his patents. Because it's documented that's what he did to Nikola Tesla. So guess how many other people he probably did that to as well. Just poor immigrants coming into fucking America. And he's like, oh yeah, you don't know how the system works, but I do. And I'll give you this money. This fucking shitty chump change, and I'll make billions out of it. He was Thomas Edison is a genuine bad guy. Jane Stainless. I mean, he is a walking refrigerator, though, so I don't think he can help that. But yeah, Edison's piece of shit. I know I lost the note for it, but that's basically what I wrote, with more actual factual details, I'm sure. But nah, fuck that guy. It makes me. I've read about what he did. He was hooking up elephants to fucking alternating current just to kill them, to make Why do we revere Nikola? Why do we revere Thomas Edison whatsoever? That man was clearly super evil, and I doubt he invented a singular thing in his entire life. I doubt he fucking. I bet that man was the stupid. He probably had a good business sense, but that doesn't mean he's good at anything else. The businessman I've learned, anyone with a good business sense is kind of like a psychopath. I've learned you got to be a real weird psycho to fucking be good at business. During the Gilded Era, it is alleged that David Rockefeller attempted to manipulate the gold reserves in America by selling American gold to Europe, and then he would basically sell it back to America for a profit, because he'd create, America. He would basically steal, sell off America's gold to Europe and then sell it back, because he was insane. But he failed to do that back in the Gilded Era. He tried and failed, right? Well, I guess I'll monopolize oil then, right? That's what this Rockefeller guy did. Now, way into the future, around 1970, they actually did do this. Fucking David Rockefeller allegedly sold $20 billion worth of our gold from Fort Knox to turn a profit selling it back to America. He sold it to the Netherlands in 1970, and it's alleged. But you know what? I saw, as far as I'm concerned, fucking Ron Paul asked to look into Fort Knox to see if there's gold in there, and nobody let him in. I'm just saying, like, Fort Knox is the most weird place of where it's like, did you fuckers sell our gold to fucking Netherlands to make some weird profit? Like, ah. Now, due to copper manipulation, because back then in the Gilded Era, some fucker was trying to monopolize copper as a whole, right? Because he sees everyone else doing it, so like, oh, I'm gonna do that too. Now, the after effects of this was that he was trying to harm the financial systems, just like the Rockefellers were trying to do with the gold. They just failed back then. But the copper guy, he almost did it. So J.P. Morgan fucking stepped in and decided he'd start the Federal Reserve in 1907, which is basically America's first Federal Reserve Bank and the first government-run banking system in the entire country. And guess what? This day and age, those bankers are not. Nobody likes the bankers. We think the bankers are corrupt. And even like their first day of being banks back then, they were evil to begin with. Because this fucking J.P. Morgan, one of like the most sleaziest people on the planet, he was the guy who started the federal banking stuff. He's the guy who started the federal government, basically. Like the federal government is some weird, sleazy organization. Because the federal government operates on the federal government's terms, while the normal government that we have operates on the common man's terms. It's weird how that works, right? Did you not know that? That like we have two governments here? The federal government is basically the elites. It's the elite structure. They handle the elites' problems, and the normal government that we handle, well, like Donald Trump and shit, are just for the common man. We have two governments. That's why there's a federal government. That's why it's like called that. It's really goofy if you think about it. Oh, here we go. The Gilded Era actually came from a book back in the day. Now, the term Gilded Era probably comes from the Mark Twain book known as, well, The Golden Age. The Gilded Age, A Tale of Today, is what it was called, A Tale of Today. Its themes follow commoners and rich elites and demonstrates how the lust for being rich and powerful will always pervade humanity. It will always infect us. Every opportunity a human being gets to be rich and powerful, they will be infected into it, and they will just go down the path of darkness. It doesn't matter who you are. That's what the Tale of Today, The Gilded Age from Mark Twain was trying to tell people. The book does not touch on industrialization, monopolies, or corruption in terms of political figures. More so, it's just about lusting for wealth and power, and how all people likely have that little spark in them to become just a megalomaniacal bastard if they get wealth and power. Like, it's all in us. Probably in you and me and everybody. If we all became super billionaires, we'd probably also become like monsters as a result. It's just how that works. Sadly. Oh. We still got notes, don't worry. I'm getting through them. That was the door. I hit my wall. Whoa. J.P. Morgan, the son of a bitch himself. Yeah, the funny thing about the Gilded Age is that it's very like um like the name itself is very like, because it's yeah, it's like you said, it's like the it's gilded, so the interior and the outside of it, the outside coating is indeed gold, but what's inside is just rotten. And that's what the whole point of the Gilded Era or Gilded Age is that on the surface it looks like prosperity and wealth and a gold lining, but in reality there's just a rotten core in the middle. And it's honestly, I want to read that Mark Twain book now, because it's like, well, shit, Like, I just want to read that to see like what kind of similarities we have with like common eras now. You know, like I feel like we've hit like a revolving point where we've hit a second Gilded Era. Yeah, the American dream. The rich did get way poorer too. Like they fucked up. And then after this we had the Progressive Era. Once the Gilded Era ended, and we focused on like social policies. You know, like good lord, we had like recently released slaves that we're trying to like normalize, get them like normalized into society. And we focused so much on social issues, we entered the Great Depression right after. So there's definitely something to be said about over focusing on industrialization and over focusing on social issues. There needs to be a balance because when we focused on industrialization, the people suffered, right? The people did suffer. They the jobs were kicking their ass, and then we focused on social shit for 20 years, and by the end of that, like people lost the want and need to work, and like the Great Depression happened, and like there were no jobs anymore because we laser focused on a thing. We should never laser focus on a singular thing. It needs to be balanced and spread out. And like it's stupid that even right now we are in the same exact moment of where we were focusing on social issues for like the past 10 years, and now we're getting out of that. It's like we're rolling out of that, and like guess what? Everything's really economically shitty now because we were laser focusing on a single thing, and we really should be more varied with that. I don't understand why people can't not laser focus on a single like good lord, yeah, that's bad and that's bad and that's bad. Let's not just focus on that thing though. Let's focus on all three. But no, we won't do that. We're we can not afford to focus on like multiple things and try to like balance it. No, we got to like let's just go really hard on this part, and then these other two things we'll just ignore them and let them decay and become a problem later. It's stupid. It's dumb. And what's dumb, the dumbest part about it is that I read my damned history, and I see how like the tide is turning. I'm like, well, that seems awfully familiar. I remember reading about that back in the day, and it seems like we're heading towards that point again. And guess what? We probably fucking are. Diversity, yeah, yeah. But I like social issues. I think people should be socially happy. I think infrastructure is important too, though. And I think if you focus too much on infrastructure and not social issues, you fuck people up. And if you do it the other way around, you fuck people up. But can we not balance it? Can we not like ensure jobs and like stability exists while also treating people like human beings? Like, is that like impossible to do? I'm sorry. How is that like the most hard thing for fucking the world to like handle? What the fuck? Like how is that the impossible task? It's just like, I don't know, treat people good, give them jobs. How's that so fucking hard? It's stupid. God, just put me in Congress already, you bastards. I'll fucking tell you a thing or two. Let me tell you about J.P. Morgan. I'm sorry. These people do actually genuinely make me upset. I can't help it. I don't like corruption. I don't like injustice. It fucking rustles my feathers up. Fucking ruffles my feathers to like high heavens. Okay, so J.P. Morgan was originally, J.P. Morgan, right? You've heard of him. Everyone has. You know what he originally did? You know what he did? It's the funniest thing. He was originally a cotton tradesman. Poor J.P. Morgan was devastated. He was all upset when the Civil War ended because he had no more slaves to pick his cotton and run his fucking cotton business. So, Mr. J.P. Morgan, this guy fucking this probably sipping tea and be like, yeah, you picked that cotton. Fucking goes all upset when the Civil War ended because he's like, oh, darn, how am I going to make my money? Dang it. I'm just a good old boy, right? Fuck this guy. Now, luckily for J.P. Morgan, he had a ton of gold. For some reason, I don't know, where do you get all this gold? Probably from a gold rush. He's probably one of those fucking people who, just some sweaty dude digging a hole and you're like, oh, here's all this gold. I'm J.P. Morgan. I'm going to make people pick cotton for me. Fuck this guy, by the way. This fucker right here. This guy also fucked. The J.P. Morgan also fucked Nikola Tesla because they gave him a little bit of funding to start Wardenclyffe Tower, right? And then, like, you need more funding than just the original thing. Nikola Tesla built the thing. Was like, there you go. Look, it's built. Can we continue funding? And J.P. Morgan's like, nope. See you later. And you know what? J.P. Morgan is responsible for the Wardenclyffe Tower being kind of built, and also responsible for it being abandoned and destroyed. This guy is like a monster. He's an actual like weird monster. He's weird. He does stuff just to like destroy other people constantly. That's what this guy has done. And he's one of our biggest prominent figures of American history. He's responsible for frontlining basically the concept of consolidation, mergers, and essentially he came up with the idea of, well, I'm the big fish and I'm going to eat all these little fish and we'll be one big fish together. That's what this guy, the consolidation, the mergers, and like basically being like, well, we're the biggest company, so you should all merge with us. J.P. Morgan was like the biggest contributor of that like particular like tactic. He's a monster. Now it's basically even like General Electric, which is Thomas Edison's company, by the way. If you ever see GE, do know that is run by a man called Thomas Edison, who never invented a single thing himself, but he did buy 1,000 patents off of immigrants who showed up with no money. So he made a lot of good inventions through other people. But like J.P. Morgan also helped General Electric consolidate and absorb like other companies around that were also trying to sell like electronic devices and stuff, like General Electric. It's also really funny that like General Electric and what was the other one? Let me see here. Standard Oil are like the only two things. Like, it's such a basic ass name. They're just like, yeah, we're the ones. We're Standard Oil. We're the guys. We're the best ones. It's shitty. Oh, I hate J.P. Morgan. But yeah, he just basically created like the avenue of, let's fuse businesses together so we can just make sure there's no competition, right? I'll buy you out. You can live comfortably, and I don't have competition, and so I can make sure that my company, it does not need to grow, or be more ethical, or be better. I just decimate competition so you don't have to actually do like extra work. Is the kind of the philosophy of every robber baron. Like that's just how they operated. It was silly. And but I mean, back then, what do you do? I mean, honestly, if I lived back then and I had the opportunity, I'd probably be a robber baron too. But maybe not. Maybe I would have been like an outlaw or a cowboy or something. I don't know. I'm not really too keen on screwing people over, though. It's not my. It makes me feel bad in the guts. So I just avoid it. So I don't know. Maybe I'd be a terrible robber baron. If you swallow up all the small fish, you become a really big fish. Yeah, it's true. It's like literally how the Vanderbilts and like Rockefellers and all the the rich super families, like that's how they got big. It was mostly around the Gilded Era, the Gilded Age. They basically became the big fishes, and it's funny because like they basically became government entities. They got so big, like they were you could literally. Let me see here what we got. Contemporary barons. Oh well, I mean, but like they would actually like because once you get to that point, you can have stocks, and I know a lot of these robber barons back in the day. I can't remember which one, because that note is gone. But they would do like this thing where they'd super inflate their stocks before there were like actual laws associated with stocks, and so like they would convince. I think it was the railroads. It was the railroads for sure. The railroads would do that, where they'd make people like pay. They would inflate their stock's value, and then people would buy their stocks, and invariably each stock would be worth like nothing, but the railroads would still make money off of it. And that was like a big scheme back in the day during like the railroad industry. The railroads were like shitty. The railroads were just like literally eliminating people and doing like fake stock. Like they were doing like all the worst shit possible. Yeah, I mean, yeah, and unfortunately, America is a place where the people who get the gold, it occurs specifically because of gold rushes. So it was not like divvied out to the most intelligent people or the most like hardworking people or anything like that. It was luck. It was entirely luck. Whoever happened to strike it rich with gold became like an elite like lord, basically a super lord who could buy out anyone, do anything they wanted because they had the gold. It's shitty. Such a shitty system. That's why like old America is so weird and like full of like slave owners and shit. Is because the people who got rich, a lot of them got rich because of the gold rushes. There's a lot of them. It's a big part of our history in America. Contemporary barons. Contemporary barons. Do you want to know about some contemporary robber barons of today that you could look at today and be like, oh, that's what they would be like, right? Yeah. Oh, I got you. So robber barons never actually went away. They simply backed into the shadows and began conducting their cruel business practices through proxies. Like a lot of these people, like the Vanderbilts, the Rockefellers, they'd make like a bunch of different companies, right? And then those different companies would do like really like shitty things, and you just would never know that this company is associated with like some weird old family with like old old fucking money. Because they decided to go into the shadows because in the Gilded Era, people called their asses out. They're like, this is stupid. You guys are literally like monsters. And then for about 100 years, it's weird, right? Because you don't see like the Vanderbilts walking around like on TV. You don't see the Rockefellers doing that either, except for recently, because they're all starting to come back. It's gone for a circle. Like I think these old barons, like the families of these barons, they want to be back into that point where they are public figures, and like everyone's like, oh yeah, that's the richest guy in the world, you know. So it's coming full circle again. You see people like, let's see, Elon Musk. He's kind of a robber baron. Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, uh, Mark Zuckerberg, Donald Trump. All these people are contemporary robber barons. Like that is what they would be like, and maybe back then they were charming too. Not all these people are completely like monsters. They're charming enough, for people to like them. But back in the day, I don't think they had that benefit. They didn't I feel like very few people in the 1880s would be able to get enough news to determine whether or not these people are good or not. But we have the internet now, so we can really like make like quick judgments on people. You know? Yeah. So like literally, Donald Trump is a robber baron. I mean, shit. His goddamn family owns all of the Nikola Tesla patents. So it's like, well, at least most of them. I don't know how many they own. I tried to look it up, and nobody gives me a clear answer except for that his uncle definitely did own a bunch of patents, and he made a bunch of weird inventions, like as a result of owning those too. So we're gonna get to a. I mean, I feel like I'm missing one note about. Whoa, whoa. Maybe I'm not. I see something down here. What's this down here? Whoa. I think I have an invisible note down here, but there's nothing I can do about it. It's just gone. It's just lost to me. It's down here. It's lost forever. That was probably the one about Thomas Edison, who is a piece of butt head. He's a piece of butt. Not a pizza butt. He's a piece of butt. Not even a full butt. It's just like a piece of one. Yeah, it's down here. I'm just saying. I mean, Google really. It's weird because Google really did not want me to talk about this one. It's so weird. This is the first like time I've like done research for a topic, and like Google was like actively fighting me the whole time. Anytime I'd like Google, like, oh, let me just Google Rockefeller. Like, actually, Rockefeller's a really sweet guy, and he's a philanthropist, and like, you shouldn't really look into him. I'm like, I'm sorry, Google. I'm glad you have AI now, but like, fuck you. Like, shut up. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, Google now exists with like an auto AI system on it, where if you Google anything, the AI like fucking it tries to like gaslight you or something. It's weird. I'm not a real fan of it. I think it feels like a little bit nefarious. We got one more. And we got one more. I mean, I feel like I had a whole ass note about Thomas Edison where I think for the whole 3 paragraphs I wrote he smells really bad and he's ugly and stuff like that. So you probably wouldn't have learned nothing. I just don't like Thomas Edison at all. I think he's a fraud. I think he's one of our biggest frauds in America. I think he invented exactly 0 things. And if you look him up, he apparently had 193 patents or something. And it's documented that he bought most of them. So I don't think he built it. I don't think he invented a damn thing. I think he bought patents and he got actual like engineers to build the stuff. I don't think he was the genius at all. The fact that he was like using Nikola Tesla's like inventions to kill animals just to like ruin Nikola Tesla proves everything to me that this man was like not good, not good at all. He resorted to some real fucked up tactics to like destroy his opposition. It's even like Nikola Tesla, he bought his patents, so it's like why was that man his enemy? You know, like he needlessly tried to destroy Nikola Tesla for no reason. He bought his patent. Nikola Tesla was happy to sell his patents to fucking Thomas Edison. Dude, he's like, yeah, great, as long as it like hey, if people can get some use out of this thing, I'm happy. Good guy. The New World Order, which is feasible, super feasible, really. The New World Order is a conspiracy theory that, in my opinion, makes sense. It makes sense if you consider how psychopathic robber barons are and how psychopathic the elites are. The New World Order just makes sense to me, honestly. They fucking tried to take over the America in the Gilded Era already. They just got so much, like, people started protesting, so they had to stop. If people did not protest, they would have taken over everything. Like 20 people would rule everything. Like that's how it was they were trying to do it back then. The robber barons already attempted to exert disgusting power over the common people during the Gilded Era, and these days, the family members of the robber barons of old they still hold wealth. They still hold influence, and none of them has ever been affected by the fact that like it's all weird blood money that has gotten us to this point. The Rockefellers, for instance, they have like a dead set focus on foreign relations and have for many years, which is essentially a way of affecting the entire world. And affecting swaths of people with their influence under the guise of helping them. Because, good Lord, if the Rockefellers really have been helping other countries with their foreign affairs for the past like 40 years, why has nothing really gotten better in like the rougher countries? Why has it always been the same? I don't think they're doing shit. I don't think they're doing a damn thing. But in reality, I think foreign relations is basically an octopus arm of the particular ideals that the New World Order wants to establish. Because if they can start planting seeds worldwide through their foreign relations, yeah, that's one way to like set up a one world government, which makes sense. A world world government would benefit the elites. It would benefit the people in charge, not us. Like they don't care. A New World Order can only be established if the world is in chaos and people basically don't feel secure. So like right now, you don't feel secure. You don't feel secure. I don't feel secure. Does anyone feel secure in this country? Do we all feel like there's chaos around us? Well, guess what? That's a perfect environment for a New World Order to pop in and be like, yes, we have structure and order and chaos and this, that, and the other. Perhaps the chaos around us is very intentional and trying to demoralize us into a point where we can accept the helping hand of a authoritarian government. Just being like, yes, we'll control everything for you. All you have to do is eat bread and poop. I feel like we're being pushed in that direction because there's needless chaos and disorder nowadays. Not all of it makes sense. Not all of it seems like a natural laying out of like disorder, because chaos doesn't just come out of the blue. You can usually see it fucking coming. These days, I feel like it's more orchestrated than anything. I think they're trying to stabilize every single person, make everyone just all fucked up and stressed and just off balance. It's like the goal, and then they could swoop in and be like, what? Here's you get $1,000 a month, and you don't even have to work, and all you have to do is live in a small cage, and we'll let you drink milk all day. And you'd be like, yeah, that's great. That's better than working all day and struggling and this, that, and the other, Because guess what? By default, I'm pretty sure human beings are predisposed to being evil. I don't know why. I don't know why. I'm probably evil too. I just don't realize it. You know? I've tricked myself into thinking I'm not evil, but maybe I'm the most evil. I don't know. I just know these damn robber barons are definitely verifiably evil. Don't listen to Google. They're a liar. Google lies. Captains of industry. Give me a break. What that see, captains of industry is a new term. Fucking robber barons has been a term for the past 200 years. I don't think that. Nah. Well, I did have one more on Thomas Edison, but it is lost. I don't think they wanted me to talk shit about Thomas Edison today, because that has disappeared completely from my particular grabbing distance. And it's a damn shame. I was going to talk so much shit. I already did talk shit. You heard it. Look him up. Look him up sometime. He's weird. He's a weird guy. There's something wrong with him. Look at a picture of his face, right? Look at a picture of Thomas Edison's face. Look into his eyes and tell me if that's a decent human being or if there's something wrong in there. You guys want to know what Rockefeller looks like? Do you want to see what a captain of industry looks like? Not an evil person. This is not an evil person. It's not what an evil person looks like, by the way. This is a captain of industry. This is what a captain of industry looks like. A very good person who doesn't have the eyes of like a soulless monster. Yeah, captain of industry. Controlled 91% of our oil reserves. Hey. Yes, I love people. Yes, I am not evil. No way in hell. I'm just saying, you can see it. You can see it in the eyes. The eyes are the well to the soul. You know, you can see it. I'm telling you. Pay more attention to fucking people's eyes and stuff. Pay attention to this stuff. It's something to it. I swear to you. There are natural ways for a human being to glean, to look at somebody, and our instincts keep us safe. When you look at somebody and you see a lack of light in their eyes, or you look into their eyes and something doesn't feel right, there's probably a good reason for that. That is our survival instincts trying to keep us away from potential predators and like ne'er-do-wells, stuff like that. There's always a reason for it. Your gut instincts are just ancient instincts. It's not arbitrary. Trust them. Trust your gut instincts, I swear to you. Next time you get a bad feeling about something, maybe you should just like acknowledge that bad feeling and go the other way. It might keep you from getting like shanked or something, I swear to you. There's something to it. Maybe I'm crazy though. We can always be crazy, that's okay though. At least we're not robber barons. At least that I know of. Because I feel like if Six were given the opportunity to be a good robber baron, he'd probably do it. And he'd probably give me a good explanation of like why it's a reasonable way to do. The pool lord. The pool lord over here, I bet you he's monopolized a few pool businesses. I bet you he saw like other pool businesses in the area and he'd just show up and be like, well, I'm going to pour acid down your throat. And that's why he never had any competition, How would you survive if someone pours acid down your throat? I wouldn't know. I've never had it happen to me before, but I assume he's done it to many people. He's probably done it to thousands of people in his time. What do you mean you're gonna open up a pool business in my area? All right, well, follow me into the back. I want to show you something, buddy. That's how Six dealt with all of his competition. He was called the pool baron at one point. No longer though. He understood it was a cruel situation to be in. A cruel parade of events. So eventually, he phased away from that. Oh. Well, I'm sorry to say, fellas. Well, I mean, I'm not sorry to say because I'm letting you off the hook. Anyone who's still here, God bless your soul that you're still here. Because this, is a boring topic, I feel like. But that's the whole point of these. I do intentionally try to pick up slightly boring topics because I think it's funny. Because I'm a fucking troll. Uh, you know, quantum physics. The quantum physics one was also a joke. Where I'm like, you know what? I want to go from talking about Friday to quantum physics, and it was very funny. I do know a little bit about the robber barons, and I do kind of care about it, this particular subject, because it's shitty, and it's a piece of history I don't think a lot of people know about, and I feel like they should. Cause I don't know. Have you ever seen CNN? Fucking Anderson Cooper is Anderson Vanderbilt. He just changed his name so you don't realize he's a fucking robber baron. You know? Even CNN is like their hosts are members of these families who are just up there just telling us whatever they want to tell us, and like, my family's a multi-billionaire, but I'm just gonna be on the news because I can. And Anderson Cooper, look in his eyes. I'm telling you, nothing but darkness. But yeah, there's something wrong with these people. But I don't know. I don't think corruption will ever end. I think it will just keep happening. Even if we do like quash out the corrupt individuals nowadays, give it 100 years, we'll forget, and it'll happen again, like always. Well, I'm gonna see. Well, first I'll see how many viewers I have. If we have enough, I will throw a raid to somebody. If we don't, go to bed. You know. But I gotta check, just for no levity's sake. You know, you never know. Hmm. Reviewers. Hmm. Nah. You go to bed. But thank you for showing up. Well, I wasn't really in the mood to do this today. You know, part of me today was like, I don't know if I'm gonna do a VR stream tonight. But I decided, fuck it, I'll do it anyways. I don't want to break my schedule. It's a bad, yeah, it's a bad habit to do so. But I had fun. I had fun. It's good. I'm glad I got this one out of the way. I feel like so in the future, if I ever talk about robber barons, yeah, people will know what the fuck I'm bitching about. You know, I'm just crossing one off the list today. I'll never have to talk about these. Well, I mean, I will talk about these bastards again, but not in detail. At least people have a general understanding what the hell I'm talking about when I bring them up. I feel like. You guys have a good night, though. Hopefully you have a good night. Hopefully six. Hopefully you take care of yourself, buddy. I know it's rough right now. I know it's rough. Well, I feel bad for you. And don't rush yourself to get back into the zone of socialization. You know, like, people will be here for you when you get back from the fray. You know, I just want you to get through it, to get through it and be whole afterwards. You know, I don't want you to. I don't know. Hopefully you do pretty good, man. My condolences. You know, I get it. I get how it is. You know, not good, but I don't know. Something. It's eye opening too. It lets you see the world in a more honest way. I feel like once you start losing people that are very important to you, you start to appreciate the world better too. I feel like it takes off some weird barriers. Like you live your life with the people who are important to you and your anchors and stuff, and they're always around. The moment they start going away is when you really start actually appreciating the other people around you more. You know, you start to realize the purpose of life is just other people, family, stuff like that. It's just how it is. I'm sorry to say. I know. You think you assume the purpose of life, the secret of life was something more elaborate or special, but it's not. The secret and purpose of life is to have friends, have lovers, have family. That's it. It's other people. That's the entire purpose of that is why you were put in this world. That's why I was put in this world. It's for people, for socialization, people, human beings being human beings with one another. That's it. That's it. We're all pack animals, and we just forgot that at some point. Oh, oh gosh. But yeah, I'm tired. I've talked enough. We're out of topics, I think. Yeah, we're out of topics. Let me get you. Let me turn this rain off so you guys can stop. You know, worrying so much. I know you guys don't like rain. I get it. I get it. You guys hate rain. I like rain. It's my favorite thing. Also, you guys get to see outside real quick. Hey, look, it's a nice day today. Wow, what a nice day. What a nice day. Wow. It's a shame it's raining today. We're all cooped up in here. Dang. Dangarang. Boomerang. Oop. Let me see. Whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. But yeah, we have. I mean, we could raid somebody, but we have 3 people. I think we should all just go to bed. I think it's a good Friday to go to bed. I'm not gonna keep you guys stuck on the leash, you know. Oh shit, did I hear myself? Oh man, what an awful voice. Wow. But yeah, once again, everyone have a good night. And anyone watching too on the pod, anyone lurking, you better have a good night too. Not just, you guys too. If you don't, I'll be very upset. So you better have a good night. I'll catch you next time. Probably Monday. Unless I do some weird impromptu streams on the weekend for Armored Core. I'll see you Monday. Silent Hill? Yeah? Well. Hey, you have a good one too. And thank you. Thank you again for popping in. No. I mean, we could raid Safarian, but it is American Truck Simulator, and I feel like this is a very anti-American stream, so we're just not gonna do it. We're just not gonna do it. We're gonna just turn it off. We're just gonna turn it off.